I grew up with my dad. My mom left us when I was very young. I do not remember her face. Dad never spoke about her. When I asked, he only said, "She is gone." That was all. So I stopped asking. We lived in a small house near the river. It was quiet there. We had almost no visitors. My dad worked hard. He fixed cars in a small garage. He came home late and always very tired because the work was tough. He ate dinner in silence and went to bed early to be ready again. I was alone at home most of the time. I read many books and often walked by the river. I watched the water flow slowly and calmly. I loved that peace. I did not talk much to other people because I did not trust them. At school, I was different. The other boys played together, laughed, and shared stories. They seemed to have a lot of fun. I often sat alone in a corner of the classroom. I did my work and left when the bell rang. Some boys wanted to be my friends, but I pushed them away. I did not believe in friendship because I thought it was not real. Dad always said, "People leave. Do not expect them to stay." I believed him. He was right. It was the same with girls. They smiled at me and talked, but I did not answer. When they asked questions, I simply walked away without responding. I saw how they laughed with others and changed friends often. Today they liked one person, and the next day someone else. I thought they were not honest, and that their words meant nothing. So I did not want to waste my time. I focused on school to improve my grades. Later, I focused on work. I did not need people around me, and being alone was fine. The years passed. I finished school. I helped my dad in the garage every day. Each day was the same. I got up early, helped him, and worked all day. Sometimes I felt lonely when I saw the other boys laughing together. But I had grown used to being alone. I found comfort in my books. The stories were my friends. They gave me an escape from reality. I imagined what it would be like to have adventures. Yet in my heart, I knew I was not ready to open up. The fear of disappointment was strong. I often wondered if I would ever find the courage to allow new relationships. I ate dinner with my dad. We spoke little, almost nothing. The silence between us was always there. Then I went to bed. The next day was the same again. Life was simple. Life was calm and easy to predict. I was not sad, but I was not truly happy. I thought, this is life. I thought I needed nothing more. Then one day everything changed. It was a normal day like any other. I got up early and prepared for the day. I ate breakfast quickly and then went to the garage. Dad was already there, working hard on a car, and I knew he gave his best. He did not say much. He never did. I grabbed my tools and started working. The air smelled of oil and metal, and I felt comfortable in that place. The noise of engines and hammers filled the garage and sounded like a familiar song to me. This was my life. I knew it well. Then she walked in. A girl. She looked around and stepped closer, hesitant but sure. Her car had a problem I had seen many times before. I did not look at her face because I was busy with my work. I did not care. I only wanted to fix it fast. I wiped my hands and asked what was wrong. She explained it, but I hardly listened because I wanted to keep working. She thanked me politely. I did not answer. I was not into small talk. I thought she would leave. But she kept standing and looked around. "Do you like the work here?" she suddenly asked. I did not answer right away because the question surprised me. I did not like small talk. She smiled kindly and said, "You are very quiet." Her words hit me unexpectedly. I suddenly felt uneasy in my silence. I kept quiet and tried to focus on work. She laughed softly. Not loud like other people. It did not bother me. I fixed the car and handed her the keys. She thanked me again and left. I thought that was the end. But the next day she came back. This time she had no car problem. She just stood at the door and looked into the garage. I ignored her. I did not want distraction. She came closer and asked, "Can I watch?" I frowned. "Watch what?" I asked. "Your work," she said. I shook my head and thought I would rather work alone. But she did not leave. She only smiled and said, "Okay, then I will wait outside." I did not understand her. Why was she here? What did she want from me? In the next days she kept coming. Sometimes she asked questions about my work. Sometimes she just sat outside and watched, as if my work fascinated her. Dad noticed and said, "She is different." I did not answer. I did not want to talk about her. I did not want to think about her. But I did, without meaning to. One evening I saw her by the river. She sat on a rock and watched the gentle water. I walked past her. But she turned and smiled. Her smile was warm and friendly. It did something to me. I felt strange, but also curious. What was she planning? I wanted to know what she thought and felt. It was not only the smile, her whole manner drew me in. I chose not to walk away. I stood still and watched her as she stared into the distance. "Do you like the river?" she asked. I stopped walking. No one had ever asked me that. I nodded slowly. She said nothing more. She just sat there, calm. It felt strange. I thought she was like the others. She will leave, but she did not leave. And that scared me. Days passed, and she kept coming back. Every morning she came to the garage. Sometimes she had a question. Sometimes she only watched. Dad got used to her. He even smiled when she came. But I did not understand her. She was different. She did not act like other people. She did not talk too much. She did not ask many questions. She simply stayed. And I did not know why she did that. One afternoon she brought coffee. She set it on the table beside me. "For you," she said. I looked at the coffee but did not take it. "I do not drink coffee," I said. She only smiled. "Then next time I will bring you tea," she said. I frowned. "Why?" I asked. She shrugged. "Because you work hard." I did not answer. I grabbed my tools and kept working. But I saw Dad take the coffee and smile at her. He liked her. I did not know why. She also started coming in the evenings. Sometimes she sat by the river. Sometimes she walked near the garage. She asked me nothing. She expected nothing. She was simply there, and that did not bother me. I thought she would get bored. I thought she would stop coming. But she did not. One evening I saw her sitting on an old bench by the river. The sun was setting. The water looked golden. I was tired. But I went to her. "Why do you come here every day?" I asked. She looked at me and smiled. "Because I want to." Her answer made no sense to me. "You do not even know me," I said. She tilted her head a little. "Maybe I do know you." I shook my head. "No, you do not." She was silent for a moment. Then she said, "Maybe you think people always leave. But I am still here." Her words made my chest heavy. I did not know why. I said nothing. I sat down beside her. The sky grew dark, and we stayed there, in silence. The wind blew gently. It was a calm night. I heard the waves of the river. I did not feel alone. I wanted to know more about her. Why did she want to be here? What was she thinking? I looked at her and wondered what she felt. Her eyes sparkled in the starlight. It was a new moment for me. In that silence, I felt a bond I had not expected. I wanted to explore it, to learn her thoughts and dreams. This night felt different. It was as if the world stood still and only we remained. It was a strange but lovely connection that gave me courage. The next day she brought tea. She placed it beside me like before. I looked at the cup for a long time. Then I held it for the first time. It was warm. I took a small sip. She smiled. She said nothing. She did not need to speak. Something changed. I did not know what. But for the first time, I did not feel alone. She became part of my days. I had not expected that. Yet I noticed when she was missing. Every morning she came to the garage. Every evening she sat by the river. Sometimes she talked, but not much. She never asked questions I could not answer. She never pushed me. She was simply there, and I let her stay. One day she came later than usual. I was fixing a car, yet I kept looking at the door. She was not there. I told myself it does not matter. I worked faster. I wanted to ignore the feeling in my chest. The hours passed. She did not come. I told myself she was busy. Maybe she had something better to do. Maybe she was tired. Maybe she had left. But in the evening she did appear. She walked into the garage slower than usual. "Sorry," she said. "I had something to finish." I did not ask what. I only nodded and kept working. Yet my hands shook a little. I did not know why. She watched me for a while. Then she set something on the table. "For you," she said. It was a small box. I frowned. "Why?" I asked. She smiled. "Open it later." Then she left. That night I sat on my bed and stared at the box. It was small and plain. I hesitated before opening it. Inside was a keychain, a tiny silver key on a black cord. It was simple, just like me, just like my life. I did not understand why she gave it to me, but I held it for a long time. Then I slipped it into my pocket. The next day she was back. She acted normal, as if nothing had happened. I wanted to ask about the keychain, but I did not know how, so I simply kept working. She watched, as always. Yet something was different. I could feel it. One evening she asked, "Do you ever think about leaving this town?" I looked at her, confused. "Why?" She shrugged. "Just asking. Don't you want to see other places?" I shook my head. "This is my home." She smiled. Home is not always a place. I did not understand what she meant. But I did not ask. Days turned into weeks. She kept coming, and something inside me kept changing. I no longer pushed her away. When she spoke, I listened. When she brought tea, I drank it. When she sat by the river, I sat with her. The evenings by the water became important to me. I wanted to feel her closeness. One day Dad said something that surprised me. "She cares about you," he said. I frowned. "She is only being kind," I replied. But in my heart, I knew it was more. I began to value her attention. Her presence made my routine brighter. It was a feeling I had not known for years. I wanted to spend more time with her. I wanted to learn what she thought and felt. It was not just kindness. It was something special. And it made me happy and scared at the same time. He shook his head. "No," he said. "It's more than that." I did not answer. I did not want to think about it. But I did that evening when I saw her at the river again. I walked faster. She smiled when she saw me. I sat next to her. We looked at the water. Then, without thinking, I reached into my pocket and took out the keychain. I did not know why, but it felt important. She saw it in my hand and smiled. "You kept it," she said. I nodded. "Yes." The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink. The air was cool. I looked at her and asked for the first time, "Why do you stay?" She was not surprised. She just smiled. "Because I want to." And for the first time, I believed her. She was still there. Every day she came to the garage. Every evening she sat by the river. And each time I felt something new. At first it was small, only a thought, only a feeling. But it grew. I began to wait for her. I listened more closely when she spoke. I looked toward the door before she arrived. It was strange. I did not know what it meant. And I was afraid to ask myself. One day it rained. The garage was quiet. No cars came. Dad went home early. I sat alone and listened to the rain on the roof. I told myself she would not come today. No one walks in the rain. But then I saw her. She stood in the doorway, wet from the rain. She smiled. "You are still here," she said. I frowned. "You are wet," I said. She laughed. "Yes, I know." I sighed and fetched a towel. She took it, dried her face, and sat on the chair beside me. For a while she said nothing. She only listened to the rain. Then she asked, "Do you sometimes feel lonely?" The question surprised me. I did not answer at first. I had always been alone, but was I lonely? "No," I finally said. "I don't need people." She looked at me. Her eyes were calm. "But you let me stay." I wanted to object, but I stopped. She was right. I had never sent her away. I had never pushed her out. She was different. And I did not know why. The rain kept falling. The sky was gray. The garage was cold. But with her there, it felt warm. I did not know what to say. So I said nothing. And for the first time, silence did not feel empty. It felt full of something I did not understand. Days passed. I began to notice small things. I noticed how she laughed softly when she was nervous. I noticed how she looked up to the sky when she was thinking. I noticed how she always sat on the same bench by the river, as if she belonged there. Her presence became more important to me. It was as if I saw the world fresh through her eyes. I sensed that her thoughts were deep, and I wanted to understand them. I wanted to know more about her. It was exciting and frightening at the same time. It was a new feeling I was not used to. One evening when she came back, I felt the change in the air. It was not only the rain that fell, it was also the change inside us. We sat there. The silence was no longer awkward. It was warm and welcoming. Maybe it was the start of something new, something I could not fully grasp. But I wanted to try. I wanted to find out what was in her mind. It was a new adventure for me, and I felt ready to take it. Those small things stayed in my mind. They would not leave, no matter how hard I tried to ignore them. One evening she was very quiet. She sat by the river and watched the gentle water. I sat beside her and watched the tiny waves sparkle in the evening sun. "What's wrong?" I finally asked. She sighed. "Nothing, I'm just thinking." I waited in the silence, but she said nothing more, so I simply sat there and watched her, seeing how she thought. I watched the sky change its colors, first soft blues and yellows and then deep orange. The air was cool and fresh. The breeze was gentle and carried the smell of fresh grass. It felt peaceful, but something felt different. Then she turned to me. "If I leave one day, will you miss me?" The question hit me hard. I stared at her, unable to speak. I wanted to say, "No." I wanted to say it does not matter to me, but the words did not come. I did not know what to say. So I kept silent and tried to find a clear thought. She smiled, but this time it was a sad smile that weighed on my heart. "It's okay," she said softly. "I already know the answer." That night I could not sleep. Her words stayed in my head like an echo that would not fade. I tried to forget her, but it was impossible. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling while thoughts spun in my head. For the first time, I asked myself a question never asked before. What happens if she leaves? And for the first time, I was afraid of the answer. The next morning, she did not come. I told myself it is nothing. Maybe she was busy. Maybe she would come later. But the hours passed, and she did not come. The garage felt empty, even with the engine noise that usually calmed me. The river felt empty too, even with wind on the water. Something was missing. Something I did not want to name was suddenly clear. It was a restless feeling that spread inside me and could not be ignored. The next day, she was still not there. I waited and waited, but she did not come. I told myself again and again that I didn't care. I told myself it was not important. But deep inside, I knew it was important. That evening, I went to the river to find some peace. Her spot on the bench was empty, and that made me sad. The air was colder than the day before. The sky was gray and dull, which pushed my mood down even more. I sat there and waited for nobody. The water moved slowly and evenly. The wind whispered through the trees, but nothing felt the same. The river seemed quieter, as if it copied my inner chaos. Then I saw it. A small note on the bench. My hands felt heavy when I picked it up. The paper was crumpled, as if she had left it fast and wanted no one to see it. My heart beat faster when I read the words. I had to leave, but I was right. You will miss me. I read it again and again, as if the words could answer me. My chest grew tight, and my breath stopped. My hands shook while I held the note. I wanted to pretend I did not care. But I could not. Because she was right, I missed her. I missed her voice and the way she always sat in the same place and listened to me. I missed the small talks we shared. I missed how she looked at me, as if she knew something I did not know. That night, I sat alone and held the keychain in my hand. I rolled it between my fingers and felt its weight. She was gone, but she was still here. In my thoughts, in my heart, I had spent years keeping people away to protect myself. I had believed all my life that I needed no one. But now I knew the truth. My heart was no longer closed. It had opened without me noticing. And now I did not know how to shut it again. I felt a hollow space I had never known, and it pressed on me. I wanted her back. I wanted to feel her near again, the warmth of her friendship, her questions and her smile. Those small things had changed my life. I did not want to be alone anymore. I did not want to return to the life where I needed no one. Because now I knew that every person who entered my life had their own meaning, and I did not want to only mourn her absence. I wanted the chance to tell her what she meant to me. I wanted to show her that I needed her, that she had a place in my heart. But how could I do that? It felt like a big puzzle I could not solve. I wanted to find the courage to speak. The words were there, but they would not come out. I wanted her to know how important she was to me, how much I valued her presence, and that I was ready to open up. Thank you very much for listening to me. It really means a lot that you are here and read my stories. I write many stories here, and I hope they give you joy and a little inspiration. I think each story is its own world, waiting to be explored. There are so many topics and ideas we can explore together. What kinds of stories would you like to hear? Romance, adventure, fantasy, or maybe something else close to your heart? And are the stories easy to understand? Or do you find them too hard? It is important to me that they help you learn English. I want you to be entertained and learn at the same time. Tell me what interests you, and I will do my best to meet your wishes. I look forward to your ideas and to writing new stories for you. Maybe you have your own experiences or thoughts you want to share. I would love to hear them. Together we can start a great journey of stories.